President Biden urges the U.S. Senate to approve his $1.9 trillion coronavirus aid package after it was passed by the House of Representatives.
The people of this country have suffered far too much for too long. We need to relieve that suffering. The American Rescue Plan does just that. It relieves the suffering, and it's time to act.
There's been praise for Donald Trump at the annual gathering of U.S. conservatives, but will the ex-president stay in command of the party? The British Finance Minister plans new measures to help people buy their own homes as he prepares for next week's budget. Tributes are paid to the record-breaking British charity fundraiser, Captain Sir Tom Moore, at his funeral. Family members say his spirit will live on. And we find out how top Hollywood makeup artists have been adapting their skills during a socially distanced pandemic. Just to bring you a little bit more news from the United States, it was expected, but we now have got confirmation that the Johnson & Johnson Covid-19 vaccine has been approved by US authorities for adults aged 18 and over. The approval, as it reads, is for emergency use. Reaction also from President Biden on this, saying that the green light is exciting, but the US cannot let their guard down. Things are still likely to get worse again as new variants spread. Now, you remember that Johnson & Johnson is the single shot jab, but in terms of the US portfolio of vaccinations, it's added to the Pfizer vaccine and also Moderna. Okay, let's take a look at some of today's other news. And large protests have been taking place on the streets of Buenos Aires over a scandal surrounding a VIP vaccine scandal. The Minister of Health was fired on Friday after he was found to have personally helped to arrange jabs for prominent people connected to the government. Hundreds of demonstrators have taken to the streets of the Bangladeshi capital, Dhaka, after a second day of protest over the death of a prominent writer in prison. Mushtaq Ahmed died on Thursday, 9 months after being detained on charges under the country's Digital Security Act. The Bangladeshi government says it will investigate his death if the results of a post-mortem suggest it necessary. Now let's turn our attention to Myanmar, where the security forces there have launched one of their toughest crackdowns yet after a fourth successive weekend of anti-coup demonstrations. So this was the scene in Yangon on Saturday. Hundreds of protesters have reportedly been arrested, and there are unconfirmed reports that a woman died after being shot. In Dawai, in the southeast of the country, police were filmed firing tear gas at protesters who'd blocked a road. Meanwhile, state TV announced that Myanmar's UN ambassador, Kwan Moe-tun, has been fired. Yesterday, he defied the military junta in a shock speech to the UN General Assembly, urging them to use any means necessary to reverse the coup.